Alright, this is Miss Grant going over coordinate plane notes. I do want to give credit where credit is due. I'd like to give credit for the resource that I'm about to go over from Math Giraffe. So thank you so much. I purchased this and I want to give credit to Math Giraffe for this wonderful doodle notes that I'm going to go over for my class. Alright, the coordinate plane. So we're taking what we remember about integers and rational numbers and plotting them on a number line. Now we are going to extend that toward graphing on a coordinate plane. Alright, so a coordinate plane. A coordinate plane is made up of two intersecting blanks, one horizontal and one vertical. If you notice, this is a coordinate plane. It has four sections and it has two lines, a horizontal line and a vertical line. And these two lines are our number lines. So a coordinate plane is just intersecting number lines. So when you are graphing, just really think, oh, I'm just using a number line. I'm just using two of them at the same time, which is okay. All right, with our coordinate plane, we have a couple special things we need to point out here. This vertical line here, this thick vertical line, our vertical number line, it has a special name. It is called our y-axis. And you can think of that as y because y goes up and down. Our horizontal number line has a special name. We call that the x-axis. And finally, the center point where both number lines meet, that also has a special name. We call that the origin. That is the origin or the beginning of our number lines. Now, each of these axes and origin have special coordinate pairs, and their coordinate pairs are really special. In terms of our origin, the middle of our number line, no matter if it's vertical or horizontal, is always 0. So if I do not go left and right, meaning I stay right here in the center, that's at 0. So our x coordinate would be 0, sorry. And if I'm still at the origin and I don't go up or down, I'm still at 0, so my y coordinate is also going to be 0. If I look at the x-axis, the one that goes horizontal, okay? If I go left and right on my number line, that means my x-axis can be any number, any positive or negative number. But when I'm on the x-axis, I need to stay on this really thick line, which means I'm not going up and down anywhere, which means my y coordinate is going to be 0 because I'm not going up and down. I'm just going left and right. When I talk about the y-axis, meaning on this vertical line, okay, it means that I'm not going left or right anywhere. I'm staying right on that line, so my x coordinate is going to be 0. But because I'm going up and down on my number line, that means my y coordinate is going to be an actual positive or negative number, because that's going to tell me how far up or down I'm going to go. All right. There are 4 sections to our coordinate plane, and each of these sections have a special name. They're actually called quadrants, so there's 4 quadrants is what we call them, and they're actually represented with Roman numerals, okay? We want to start over here in the upper right box. This is quadrant 1. That's quadrant 1. If we go counterclockwise, our next quadrant is going to be quadrant 2. Continuing counterclockwise, we have quadrant 3. And finally, quadrant 4. And you will figure out a pattern with each quadrant on the other side of this paper. All right, flipping it over. Lots of stuff here on this page. We are going to practicing plotting points. So again, we have a lot on this page, so we're going to kind of move around a little bit, but I'll try to be very specific as to where we are. Let's start up here at the top, plotting points. An ordered pair identifies a point and contains an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. So that's what an ordered pair is. Ordered pairs usually look like this. And as a reminder that I like to show students, the x goes left and right, and then our y goes up and down. Notice x comes first in the alphabet, so x is our first coordinate there. All right, when we look at ordered pairs, here's an example of an ordered pair. We have positive 7 and negative 6. If I was to identify the coordinates, this first number is going to be our x-coordinate. And our second number our -6 is going to be our y coordinate because it comes second. And y comes second in the alphabet, or after x, I should say. And if we look at the example, this little dot right here, it's saying that I am going 7 across. So if I start at the origin, I go 7 spaces across. And then that's -6. So that means I'm going down because negative is below 0. So I'm going to go -6, and that's what that dot is. All right. If we had to follow a set of directions in terms of plotting points, we have 3 steps here. We're going to start at the origin. You always start at the origin. You always start in the middle and the center. After, you're going to count out the x coordinates, meaning are you going to go left or are you going to go right? And how many are you going to go left or right? From that point, you're going to count the y coordinates, meaning am I going to go up? Am I going to go down? How far am I going up or down? So I always want to go left and right and then up and down. All right. Let's practice plotting some points. Try plotting +3, -2. Start at the origin. Okay, so we're going to start at the origin. We're going to count 3 units to the right because 3 is our x coordinate. 1, 2, 3. And then from this point, I'm going to go down 2 units because that's -2. 1, 2. So I'm going to stick a dot there. And I also want to label it +3, -2. Let's try the other example. Now try -1, +5. So -1, I'm going to start at the origin. I'm going to go left 1 because it's negative. From here, I'm going to go up 5 because 5, our y coordinate is positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I want to label this -1, +5. All right. Let's go back up to the top for more practice. Fill in the blanks to write ordered pairs for the points that are labeled. All right, so we have a couple points on here. We've got this point in Quadrant 1, the point in Quadrant 2, the point in Quadrant 3, and then obviously our examples in Quadrant 4, but we don't have to worry about those. Let's start the point in Quadrant 1. You always want to start at the origin, and how do I get from the origin to this point? Okay. So if I go to the point and I go down to the x-axis, I'm going +1. So my x coordinate is going to be +1. From there, I know I have to go up, so I know I'm going to have a positive number. But what is my positive number going to be? It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's going to be +1, +9. If we go to our point in Quadrant 2, I'm going to start at the origin. I'm going to go to my dot. I'm going to have them meet, and they meet at 1, 2. It's going to be -2 because I'm going to the left of 0. And now I'm going up, which means I'm going to have a positive number, and I'm going up 1. So you've got -2, +1. And our last coordinate is in Quadrant 3. Okay. Again, we're going to start at the origin. I have to figure out how far left or right I'm going to go. So I'm also going to go to the dot, and they're going to meet together, and they meet here. So they're going to meet at -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and finally -6. So I know my x coordinate is going to be -6. From here, then you want to count down to see how far your y coordinate is. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And because I went below 0, it's going to be negative, so I have -6, -9 as my coordinates. All right. Let's talk about these two questions right here. Points on the blank do not have or do not lie in any blank. This is very specific. If we talk about points that lie on the thick black lines, we call the thick black lines our axes, or points that lie on an axis, meaning they're on the thick black lines. They do not lie in any of the blank. So what do we call these 4 sections? We call them the quadrants. So if the point is on an axis, it does not lie in a quadrant.